we'll be ripping and roaring here. So I think health, and there we go. Hey guys, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic podcast. I'm really excited about my guest tonight. My guest came highly recommended from my friends over at Inner Traditions, and who I have with me is Lisa Barretts, and I want to show you guys. Wait, let me see. I have it right here. Yeah, I have her. I have her tarot deck right here. The people at Inner Traditions were really nice. They sent this to me. So this is her tarot deck. It's her oracle deck. I'm sorry. It's the Shamanic Star Knowledge, Star Wisdom Oracle deck, and this is what she's going to be reading from for tonight for me guys. And honestly, it's an amazing deck. Full of like really starseed galactic stuff. That's what this, and we'll get into the deck and how she designed it too. But a little bit more about my guest. Lisa Barretts is a spiritual guide, intuitive healer, and the creator of the Shamanic Oracle deck with a deep connection to ancient wisdom of indigenous cultures and shamanic practices. Lisa channels guidance and healing through her oracle cards, designed to help individuals tap into their innate wisdom and higher consciousness. Her work focuses on empowering others to embrace their spiritual path and connect with the natural world. As a passionate teacher and mentor, Lisa shares her knowledge through workshops, readings, and personal guidance, helping others navigate their spiritual journeys with clarity, purpose, and authenticity. Her shamanic oracle deck has become a valuable tool for those seeking insight and transformation. And I'd like to give her a big warm welcome back to the show. Not back to the show, for the first time. Lisa, thanks for coming on for the first time. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks, Rob. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. And you're all the way over in Europe, huh?
At the moment, I'm over in Europe, yeah, and but the planet is small. It's all
But,
in
but
perspective.
what's it like being an American over there? I mean, have you acquainted well?
Yeah, well, I grew up like that. I grew up in both the U.S. and Europe, so I'm used to that. I'm used to traveling between worlds.
That's interesting. So, are you a military child?
No,
Is your family in the
no,
military?
yeah, that's that. A lot of people ask that. No, United Nations. My dad worked for the UN, and so I grew up. We traveled a lot all around the world, and I grew up with in the schools I went to with kids from all over the world, really from pretty much every country you could say. And that's already when I started looking for something like a universal truth, because I realized there's so many different cultures and traditions and political systems, and I was looking for something that was a deeper universal truth than, you know, rules made by humans.
Talk about that a little bit. So, did you have a spiritual awakening?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people do, but yeah. Uh, but so should I talk about when I was a kid? Because you said
Yeah,
ET
yeah. Did
encounter.
you ever have any like paranormal or ET experiences growing
Yeah.
up or anything like that?
Yes, I did when I was a child, and it was it was very real, and I know it was real. It's different. It was different than, like, having a dream or like a vision, or when you're in a meditation state and you connect with other planes. Because it was so sudden and unexpected, and it was a very positive experience. I was, as a small child, taken up to some type of a spacecraft, which was a combination of a spacecraft and uh, living something. Like, it was more than just a technical spacecraft. It was almost like an old own, not planet, but something with with its own consciousness, and there were beings there, and they communicated with me. I watched them. I communicated with them, and felt also an old connection. And they made a mark on my finger, two circles that are intertwined. It looks like the infinite sign, and they said they're going to make that so that I have it for the rest of my life, so that I realized that that was really a true experience. And I've had that little mark ever since then, and it hasn't changed. It hasn't faded or gotten less. It's still there. And that was the first experience, and then I forgot about it. And the second experience was in my early 20s, also not looking for it at all, where I had another very strong encounter. Am I talking? Do you want to ask a question? Or
No, no, you're good. You go ahead. Yeah, I want you to tell your story. It's fine. Yeah,
okay. It's how's the connection? I put on a cable internet, so it should be good.
we're good. We're good.
Good, good. Okay. And the second encounter I had, very, again, not looking for it, interested in completely different things at the time. Not that was not my focus. Any type of star beings or looking for ETs. And I had another experience where I was like um, sleeping, waking. I was just relaxing, and all of a sudden, these beings showed up behind my head. They were different than the ones that I saw it as a kid. But again, it was a very pleasant, in this time, very intense experience where they were smaller. The shape that I saw was smaller. They had a different color, more like a brownish, and they did something with my head, like they were opening it in some way, like almost like an operation. And I like, and they put a funnel, like this funnel that I saw them put this device here, and it opened up. Literally, I felt like all of a sudden the whole universe was just rushing into my head. I think it was like a expansion of information and maybe a download, and that was it. Yeah. And those two very profound experiences, I think, led to me over the decades. I'm 56 years now. Over the decades, just researching, reading, trying to make connections, understanding, and getting a lot of answers in old indigenous shamanic teachings, which is what I've been learning and doing since my 20s. Aside from being a journalist, that's what I used to do. That's was my old profession. So there is an inherent curiosity about life, and also a certain skepticism. I like the name of your podcast, and uh, and I found the answers I was looking for. Also about star wisdom, star beings, understanding those like experiences, and understanding more about our human heritage. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so when did you start getting into like extraterrestrial? Because this was. I mean, I can show people some of them. I mean, I've showed your deck before on my podcast. Like, it's hard to open
Yes.
up. I'm trying to open it up, but I can open it up. Like, yeah. So like, I mean,
Here,
it's cool. Like,
this is it.
yeah,
I'm holding.
right. Yeah. Um, like, but I was showing people like the cards. Like, you have like the Lyrans, the Vegans. You have the you have like reptilians in here, Lemuria and
Yeah.
Atlantis, Ascension. So you get into all the topics that people, talk about. Like, what got you
Yeah.
into these deeper topics? Like, you know, was it the ET
Um,
experiences?
was it what?
Was it the ET experiences you had throughout your 20s and stuff?
Uh, yeah, and also, um, well, researching I really started, I learned shamanic practices from different cultures from in Hawaii. I lived in Hawaii for like 7 years. Spent a lot of time with shamans there, also with Huna teachers, also in the Native Americas, and I and also had some Aboriginal teachers, and because I got my kids fairly late with 41, so I had a lot of time to travel and to learn, and that was really what my drive was. And I found that the teachings, what they do, are very similar in all these old shamanic backgrounds, and all of them also talk about the star heritage that we humans have. Like, for example, in Hawaii, even the kindergarten teacher of my kids was telling me, well, yeah, history books say we came from Tahiti, but that's only part of the truth. Actually, we come from the Pleiades. So people who live in Hawaii who are somewhat connected to the old heritage, they know that they have Pleiadian background, and they celebrate that every year with the so-called Makahiki Festival, which my kids also celebrated at school, which is a certain time of the year where you can see the Pleiades with your bare eyes, by the way, from everywhere on the planet. That's why it plays such a big role in old shamanic traditions. And they connect. They connect with our background, which is not only earthly, no doubt. And this was confirmed by the Nobel Prize winning scientist Dr. Crick for his DNA research, who also wrote and theorized that due to DNA structure, humans also have background that is not earthly. And to carry that on even a further step, which is very interesting, is that dolphins and whales that I spent a lot of time with in Hawaii, one of the reasons I went there to live there, are considered by many shamanic indigenous cultures, aside from humans, the only other beings on the planet that also have origins from the stars. So not only humans, but also dolphins and whales. All other beings, no. All other beings, according to shamanic wisdom, were created by evolution on planet Earth. Yes,
Wow, that's interesting. So,
it is.
but when you look at all the different races of, I've always thought maybe because of all the different races of humans that are here, like maybe we were all spawned from a different ET race, or maybe we all have multiple different ET races inside
We
us.
do. We do. Yeah. So we have a lot of different backgrounds. Many of us are hybrids with even different starseed background. And you could say that pretty much every human on Earth has a starseed background. We are all in some way connected to the stars. The only thing is that some people, they don't remember it yet, or they push it away. And but many people, I mean, that's why so many people, that's why you're doing this show partially. That's why so many people are talking about it, writing about it, because we feel that there's something more and we're trying to understand it and to put it in context.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So let me see. Let me think about what I was going to ask you. So
Anything you want to know? By the way, you have a really nice, relaxed attitude. Very, very enjoyable.
oh, thanks. I've gotten that a lot. I try to be like that. I try to make the guests feel comfortable. Like I want it to be like a conversation, like we're old friends from high school. You know what I mean?
That's
Like
great. Yeah.
you know, like
Let's have a
so. If you got,
latte together.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I didn't have time to make coffee. I wanted to make coffee before this podcast, but like I I I didn't have time to make coffee because I was just doing a 2 hour podcast on Rumble before this, which was I had to do it on Rumble because it was like more sensitive. It was like a lot of like
Okay.
like topics that would get banned on YouTube. So
Oh,
um, you
geez.
know,
Disclosure.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but that's the disclosure community. You know what I mean? Some things are like good, and then other things are like real conspiracy driven that are like yeah. But I mean, so let me ask you this: have you got to travel around the world a lot and like experience a lot
Yeah.
of different cultures?
Yeah. Very lucky. Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Wow. And have you seen a lot of different ET like either architecture or traces that our background could have come from ETs in that?
Yeah. 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 There are sites. There are certain sites. Certain pyramidal. I don't know how you pronounce that, but yeah, pyramid
Yeah, but,
structures.
yeah.
Yeah. In Latin America. Um, Egypt, of course. Yeah, Hawaii has old sites which are also meant to be connected with former star contact, however you would, say it, name it. It's really a part of old native teachings. Yeah, the Hopi also talk about it. And when you think about it, electricity hasn't been around that long yet. What, 150 years or something like that? And
Yeah.
really not long at all. And before, everything was dark. And you have been, like everybody has, somewhere in nature where there's no light pollution, and you just see how the stars glow and how bright it is. And that's what it was like for tens of thousands of years for our human ancestors. They didn't have TV, they didn't have cell phones, they had the stars and they looked up there. And I think they saw a lot more than we do nowadays, and that it was also considered much more normal and a part of who we are. And that's with my work, really, what I'm trying to do is to make clear that also rooted in this old shamanic and indigenous knowledge that are reaching for the stars, are having connections, experiences, UFO sightings, whatever people experiences they have, that it's actually something very normal and natural, and nothing to be afraid of. And more interesting is to see, why do I have that particular experience? What is it that I'm supposed to learn from it? And what am I supposed? Why am I on Earth? Yeah, why am I not on Sirius or somewhere else, Pleiades? Why am I on crazy Earth? And what am I supposed to do with it here?
Well, I think. Do you think maybe you might have been brought here as like one of the people to help change the world? Through this transition that we're going through. Or this awakening. You could call it like a mass awakening or like a star seed awakening.
Yeah, I hope so. And I'm learning in the process too.
Yeah, yeah. So
And
I
you,
guess
and you most certainly are as well, Rob.
I know. I think right. Every day's a learning experience for me. It seems like it's fascinating. Really, I feel lucky because I get to talk to like all these different people and hear their stories and like like for example, like my day today was like I did a podcast. One half of it was on YouTube, half of it was on Rumble about a woman's reptilian experiences, and I had like the UFO researcher James Bartley on, and we talked about that and like we talked about yeah, like her reptilian experiences and like targeting. Then I had a more serious podcast on like disclosure and like supplements and like like the evil stuff going on possibly with the drones and all the sightings going on. That was on Rumble, and now I'm doing this one with you like on YouTube. But I don't know anybody that does that many podcasts a day. Usually some people do like one a week. I do like 3 or 4 a day. I mean, I don't do that all. Yeah, so a lot of times I do, but I mean, I like to stay busy. So
I can
yeah.
tell, yeah, and I'm sure you must have had some experiences too with star beings. I don't
I,
really like to call them aliens because it sounds so like it sounds like illegal alien. I just don't like that word, but I like the word star beings. But aliens is fine.
so do you? I've never. I don't think I mean, people have told me I have, but I don't have any memories yet. I can't remember anything. Like
Oh, that's okay.
I've had like some like paranormal experiences, but nothing like ET yet. I had a weird thing happen with my with my okay, so I could even show you. So like on my phone, I fell asleep on New Year's Eve 2024 or no 2023, and with my phone in my pocket. And when I woke up, my pedometer on my phone said that I went like 150 million steps or something like that, and it said that I went 60,000 miles, and I was going 6,000 miles per hour. So that made me think that I got taken astrally and I went somewhere. Like
Wow.
but and maybe my phone couldn't even record it all where I went. But like, again, I don't have any memories. It's interesting. I still have the picture, because I screenshotted it. I was like, and it never happened again. So I don't think it was just a thing of the app. It was weird.
Have you tried doing a regression with somebody who takes you into that and to
I've done
uncover
like
it?
12 regressions, but we never looked into that for whatever
Oh,
reason.
okay.
you
Might
know?
be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of regressions? Do you like the idea of regressions?
Yeah, yeah, I do regressions as well, and all kinds of regressions into past lives, into, somebody's pregnancy or birth, and sometimes also when it shows up into past lives on other planets or other dimensions or other forms and shapes that we can't even imagine here on Earth. And there's a lot, and very, very different stories, very unusual, and from all different types of people who have similar experiences. And I find also that people who have had these kind of experiences, they have an urge to talk about it, and once they talk about it, there's a great sense of relief that they can say it. And even if they can't understand it, just to be able to say it and to talk about it is very, very, I think, helpful for many people.
I agree. I agree
Yeah,
100%. Like it's like they get to express like something that might have happened to them that was like affecting them for a long time that they haven't got to talk about. Like whether because of the situation, it's like too taboo to talk about, or they can't talk about it at their job or school or with their family because
exactly,
they'll be ridiculed or
exactly, exactly. And there's this Pulitzer Prize winning professor at Harvard, Dr. John E. Mack, in case anybody wants to look it up, he also wrote that many of the people who came, he was at medical school, Harvard. He also wrote that many people thousands of clients who came to him also spoke to him about ET encounters, or who themselves thought they were hybrids coming from the stars. So, even somebody at Harvard said that this is a common phenomenon, that people have these experiences. And they were trying to ask him, they were saying, he's teaching at Harvard Medical School, and they're like, what's going on with me? I'm living a normal life. I have kids, I have a job, I have an education, and then I have these ET encounters, or I had an ET encounter as a kid, or what the hell am I to do with it? It's a real phenomenon for a lot of people, and it appears to go back in history as well. There's a lot of old writings about this kind of stuff. It even shows up in, old scriptures like the Old Testament. So again, looking back to the old shamanic cultures, I think we get a lot of information there that indeed there is something more that makes up our genetics.
I agree. I agree. Do you think
And
that these things are is coming from another dimension, or do you feel like it's definitely? Oh, I guess from your deck that you feel like it's interplanetary, but do you feel like it's like interdimensional travel as well?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually talk about dimensions in the deck as well, and absolutely. The thing is, we just can't really imagine it. We can have maybe a sense of what it might be in different dimensions, but we have, three dimensions on Earth, and then there's the fourth dimension of time. So maybe we have four dimensions, but there's supposed to be up to like 10 dimensions according to the quantum physicists. There's superstring theory, and it's very hard for us to imagine what it's like in a different dimension. So Earth is very dense, very polar, like opposites, and I think that's part of the experience, part of the growth and development that we're going through on this planet, is just learning opposites and how to deal with it, and understanding that it is also a part of universal development, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, that does. That does make sense. Yeah, it's and I've always thought maybe like that the Pleiadians exist like on the fifth dimension or the sixth dimension or something. So, like maybe we're
Yeah,
not even able to see them. Maybe we have to match their frequency to be able to see them. Like for somebody to have an
exactly.
experience.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times when I think it's kind of like a radio or TV, when you try to tune in and it goes, and then sometimes you get the right channel and you tune in and you get it and you hear it and then the connection's is off again. And I think it's like that sometimes when we connect with our stars, our star being friends or not friends. There's all kinds of energies out there as well, not all pleasant. And talking about the Pleiades apparently with this old knowledge, this old shamanic and indigenous knowledge, very interesting. So one of the origins of our human race, apparently, they are considered like a university where souls go to study and learn about how things work in the universe. It's like a university, you could say, Pleiades, where people who or souls, not people, but souls who go there, who incarnate there, have the experience and learn and understand that there is a balance in the polarity concept of opposites, good and bad, love and hate, uh, destruction and creation, and to be more relaxed about it and understand that it's part of a developmental process when we come from lower dimensions to move on to more lighter frequencies and dimensions.
I love that. I love that. Well, should we start with the readings? We
Sure.
got one person, or you got a person who requested one. And guys, if you want a reading, you can just put your request in the chat, and but you can always donate if you want to. There's always links that you can donate it to the podcast, and yeah, and like Rebecca, for example, Rebecca sent a PayPal, and she wanted to know. She says, "I can put. Let me see. I got to put her. I'll put her. What I do is I put their avatar on the screen so you can kind of tap into them better. And I know like her avatar, for example, is freedom is essential, and I'm looking for her right now. I saw someone mention her. There she is. Okay, okay. So yeah. She says freedom is essential. Her name's Rebecca. She says Oracle reading from Lisa. She says life mission. Should I continue the career path I'm currently in and simply continue adding to it? And she says, "Thank you, Rob."
Okay. So I pull a card now,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
do you
You can
pull a
pull.
card?
You can pull a card. Or you can pull multiple cards if you want. Whatever you feel like is best. And I can pull
Well,
one too from your
I
deck
was going to
too.
say, why don't you pull one because you know her. You've you're in some way, have had connection before. So why don't you pull her a card and then I can we can look at it together.
Okay,
Rebecca, right?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, because I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to learn. So yeah, that's
Oh, you're probably a lot more expert than you appear. I think you've done this a lot. That's part of being a host, right? But thank you. That's but her name is Rebecca and she wants to know about her career path, right?
yeah. So for her,
Okay.
I got out of your deck. I got the Pleiades and the Seven Sisters.
Wow. Well, that's exactly what we were just talking about. That's the Cosmic University. So it appears to me my first spontaneous to the question and is that she has some kind of a connection there and that it might be good for Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca, for you to tune in with your Pleiadian guides, or maybe you even have an old soul connection there. Maybe you've been there before and find out with your guide how what your purpose is now on this planet. I would assume that you will get some very clear answers.
Do you think it's is it was like what do people need to do to like tap in? Would you say like if you had to give someone like advice like on how to reach to their like starseed ancestors or whatever.
Yeah, well, in the deck, I give for every card. There's also information. There's also a little meditation how to do that, and the way to do it is just to sit down in a calm and quiet place, and call for your, in this case, Pleiadian guides, maybe ancestors, and go into a process of communication with them telepathically.
I love that. Yeah, and then it's easy to tap in. I was kind of going through the chat here to see who else
Yeah,
was
yeah.
trying.
If I can't talk to her directly, right, or chat with her, so
Um, I could bring her in, but I mean, I don't know if she would come in. Some people will. Some people are like camera shy.
yeah, I
You know.
understand that. I get it. That's fine.
Um, is it easier for you to talk to them? Is that what it is?
Uh, no, not necessarily. It's really up to her, but just to, yeah, I mean, if I were to guide her into it, then it would be helpful. But I can just tell her now to just tune in right now at this particular moment. You have no doubt a connection with the Pleiadians, either that you've lived there before, or that, and that also you have guides from there, and to ask the exact same question you wrote for the show, ask directly there.
Yeah.
The
Um,
Pleiadians are supposed to be apparently very closely monitoring and watching us here on Earth and giving us a lot of support and guidance. A lot of people are connected with the Pleiadians for us to move on and develop in a beneficial direction. So it's not surprising.
we have another request for a card. This one's from Facebook. This is from Marisol Smiley, and Marisol's a contactee. So I'll pull another card. I know Marisol. She's been on my show as well. She's a,
Sounds great.
I know a lot of these people. You know, like so yeah. Unless you want to pull a card, it's up to you. Would
No,
you?
no, you know her, you pull, and she just wants a card pulled for the best possible, or does she have a specific answer,
You know, just
question?
general reading, just a general reading. So I'll shuffle
Okay,
and I'll
then
pull.
then just
See,
the
I
best,
don't
the
know the
best.
definitions of the cards. That's where my problem is. I got to learn. I haven't read the booklet enough yet. I'd love to learn the definition. You know why? Maybe that's why I'm glad you're here because you can explain each one of them. You know.
All right,
Yeah. So I'm just gonna pick any card. Oh, she got light and love.
light and love.
Is the
All
person in a
right.
meditation pose.
Yeah, well, light and love are they're very high frequencies, high energies. Let me connect with Smiley for a moment. So what's coming through to me now is whatever has been troubling her recently, she can, is it a she?
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah. She can gently release and let go. It's not about struggling, or, sometimes to heal, you have to go into the pain to let go of something, but sometimes to heal, you don't. You just let it go as another experience and let it go with light and with love in a peaceful way. And to do so, that's always easier said than done, right? um, as we all know. She can also contact a star guide, a star being guide, which, if she's a contactee, I'm sure she has probably more than one, and ask them how she can do that in light and love. Because the most supreme thing that we're all on this planet for to learn is exactly we're lower dimensions here, is exactly that, light and love. And it's also the hardest thing to learn for all of us. and star beings in different dimensions, and we've been there as well. Much more easy and natural for them on Earth because of the way we're structured in these dimensions in our body, which is here where our soul is at home. Not so easy when our emotions go all over the place sometimes and we react, to still focus on moving into that energy again. So, dear Smiley, please, same as before, just close your eyes, contact your star, your positive star guides, and ask them how you can let go of anything unpleasant and move into a higher vibration, because that's where we all want to go.
I love that. I hope that resonates with you, Marisol, and and I hope whatever's bothering you, you get worked out. I'm going through the chat here. I'm going to make each card a movie character. Jason says, Phyllis. I don't know Phyllis. This is for someone I don't know. So,
Okay.
I'll get to her though. She says, "May I have a card, please?" And again,
right.
guys, we're from Lisa's amazing deck. It's called if you like the deck, it's called the Shamanic Star Wisdom Oracle deck, and it's through
Petra,
inner tradition.
and the artist, by the way, the artist is Petra Kuhne, and she's a really, really wonderful, kind, beautiful soul and an incredible artist. I just need to point that out at this point.
I love that. Marisol said that resonated with her, by the way, that reading. So,
Oh, good.
thank
Thank you.
you. Okay, so I'll get I just picked any card, or I'll pick any card. What is this? This one popped out. It's dimensions. She got dimensions.
Okay. Good one. Dimensions. All right. So let me tune in. Dimensions. So, because you can see I have not only different star races, beings in the deck, but also concepts that are very strongly connected with star beings and star contactees and knowledge and all that. And I think Phyllis has already, from what's coming through, is she has already had experiences with other dimensions other than those that we have on Earth, be it in dreams or in visions or just a memory of having been there. And the message that I'm getting through to her right now is that she's not imagining it. It's not your fantasy. It is very real, and you can give that space and explore. I'm even getting through that she has in some way been in other dimensions, maybe in a past incarnation or just experiences that she's had moving there. And like you were talking before about astral travel, Rob, and to tune into the experience she had though there in other higher dimensions and see what it is that she can bring onto Earth at this time to help us move more fluidly through our rather rigid 3 dimensions that we have here.
Yeah, I
Can I
love that.
talk about that for a moment? Can I say something
Yeah,
about that?
yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
So look, we have the 3 dimensions, and then you add time according to Einstein, so we might have 4. And so scientists research, which is pretty interesting, that ticks, that ticks are that are like on cats and dogs and animals, those little
Yeah.
insects. So that they apparently are beings on our planet that only are aware and move in 2 dimensions. They don't have the 3rd dimension. So that when, for example, they are somewhere on the earth, and then maybe there's like somebody above them holding a book. Yeah. And they see the book, like we will see the book going up and down, and we will understand that it's going up and down. Whereas a tick, when it sees the book going up and down, it only sees a square getting smaller when it goes up, and it sees a square getting bigger when it comes down. So it doesn't understand that it's actually going up and down, because up and down does not exist in its two-dimensional existence. Did that make sense?
Yeah, it does. That makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, and same thing for us, other dimensions, very, very hard for us to imagine, because we don't have the equipment in our brains and our bodies on Earth to understand it. But what we do have is memories from those of us who have been in other dimensions of what it's like, what it was like, and how we can make people maybe understand what that's like. And I'm guessing that Phyllis has a connection to that.
Yeah, I agree. I would say she does. She seems like a very angelic type person, like a, like a very, like she seems like someone that's out of her body a lot. Like at night, like she's definitely like astral traveling. It seems like when I'm just reading into her face, it's easier for me to read into her
Yeah,
face. When I read into her face, it seems like she's like definitely like out of body a lot. Oh my god, her eyes just like sparkled
I
at
know.
me. That
I
was
know.
amazing.
I agree. And by the way, in the deck, I also talk about angels, because angels are not really considered aliens, star beings, but they are some kind of a multidimensional beings that are out there as well. And they appear to be, I mean, they are like really upper dimensional beings, because they can be at different places at the same time. People will report about, having seen the same angel in different places at the same time, and they have this capability, and that appears to be one of the things in really high dimensions, that you can be in different places at the same time, consciously, awarely, like not by coincidence. They know exactly what they're doing. So cool. Can you imagine?
It is amazing. Yeah, wow. That's
I love it.
oh, something dropped. Okay, this one's from Arizona Raven. She said she'd like a card. She said she's like, if Lisa would like to do a read on me, I'm open for that. She resonates.
Okay, thanks. Hi, Arizona. Arizona Raven sounds already quite shamanic. All right. Would you pull one again, Rob?
Yeah.
You're great at this.
I like. She used to have just one raven, or no, she used to have a picture of wait. She used to have a picture of it looked like herself, and it was just Arizona. I know Arizona Raven because she's like almost like I would say she always say she's like a mom to my podcast. Like she's one of my moderators and the chat, and she's like she's just been like one of the coolest people they get to know. Like like I can't explain it. Like she's just like I didn't meet her. I haven't met her in person yet, but I mean, I've talked to her many times online, and like, like a lot of the people that watch my show are they like, they I mean, I have like 20,000 followers, but like I have like a core group that watches all the time, and I know them all, and like I interact with a lot of them, and like it's really nice, like but yeah, so Arizona Raven's an amazing person. I'll pull a card for her and I'll see what it resonates. But she used to have just one raven, now she has two ravens, and they're kind of like nestled up there. I like that. Like, okay, this is let's see what card I got for her. I got protection. For Arizona
Protection.
Raven.
Okay. Protection. This card has a lot to do with people. There's also a lot of fear out there around aliens, darker energies, and understandably so, because in fact, there are beings who are trying to pull our energy. That's how they feed. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on now with the artificial matrix.
Yeah,
That's running over the planet now. It's and protection. Um, I The sense I'm getting is that Arizona Raven has a sense that protection is important, especially it's a she, right? Yeah, is she, is it a she or a he? Arizona Raven.
um,
It doesn't
uh,
really matter, to tell you the truth. We'll just say they. Um, that Arizona Raven has a sense that protection is important at this time, and to please focus on that. This is a very information I'm getting is a very open person, a very connected person, senses a lot, sees a lot, feels a lot. And I can say about my own experience when I've been on this path for a really long time now, a couple of decades. And in the beginning, when I was younger, young, I'm still young, young, I just had all these images and information just flooding me, and it was just too much. And I learned over time how to shut that off and to open and close it at will, and to just not let all the information surrounding me in, and also to take good care of myself. So that is the message for Raven, that it's okay to do that, that you are still a good and kind person, even if you create clear boundaries.
I love that for Raven. I think it's a good message, but I think that fits her well. Let me see. I'm going through the. Someone made a donation for Gina. So does Gina have a question? Let me see. I'm going to the end of that, because it says someone made an honest donation, and they wanted to me, and they wanted for me to ask Gina a question for Gina. I think. Gina, do you have a question? Or
You
I
have
guess we could just.
you have great viewers. I love Rob pulling cards. Yeah, so do I. Yeah.
Um, yeah, Gina, someone donated for, yeah, that was really nice. So, let me see here. I guess I'll pull a card for Gina,
Yes,
and
please. Let's do that.
she said anything that comes in. Okay. Um, I'm just picking anyone. Oh, she got an interesting one. She got Pleiadians too, but it's Pleiadians with a crystal ball.
Okay.
And I just tell you, like, Gina's written like 7 books. She wrote a book, like, it's called the Dragon Dreams series, and she's written, there's 7 of them, and she also she's like a dream alchemist, and she does hypnosis work too. You know, Gina. You can probably sense that about her. You know, that's her picture. She's holding up all her books she wrote in there. I'm
I
really
will
proud of her. I know her offline. You know, she's a really good person. Like, you know, and like I'm really proud of that. What she's written 7 books in a short amount of time, and
wow.
I've only known her for like a couple months, and she's published 2, like, since that time. You know, so it's just like she's a writing machine.
I'm gonna look it up afterwards online. Keep it up, Gina. Good job. Keep the information flowing through. I believe this card is a confirmation of what you're doing to follow, keep on following that path. I know that I write myself. I've written a number of books as well, and I know that us writers, we can be a little lonely at home sometimes writing along, even though we do connect, of course, with our loved ones and families and our readers. But still, it's good to get confirmation that we are doing the right thing and going on the right path. And I would assume also that she has a very strong connection with the Pleiadians, that there is also, maybe she's already spent time there, or maybe she also has some guides from there. I find very interesting that you said she writes about dragons as well.
Um, yeah. She writes about Dragon Dreams, because she, in her book, in her series Dragon Dreams, she writes about like figures like the Gnome King. Like, she goes to, like, she's had, like, because basically, like, she's like had these experiences where she feels like she's connected with like inner Earth beings like the Gnome King, and then like the Gnome King even like granted her like gemstones. Like, she was at the beach digging one day. She asked the Gnome King for a sign, and then she was at the beach digging one day, and she found these gemstones, and and now she uses them to do mini readings, but she does mini readings on my show with gemstones, like sometimes, like
Oh, wow. She's
she's an
connected.
interesting person.
Wow.
Yeah, she is. She's a cool person. She really is.
So the card she pulled for me is more than just the Pleiadian connection. What is coming through is that there is also really a master connection there, and to really tune in and hear what the information is that wants to come through through this crystal ball, through some Pleiadian masters for her to bring onto Earth. We are very much needed at this time um, to help the transformation that we're going through right now. Yeah.
And you've
Thank
written
you.
books as well. I didn't know you. I knew you were with Inner Traditions because that's where the deck came from. But I wasn't aware. So what are your other books?
So I wrote a book called Soul Medicine, which is about shamanic healing, and
That's awesome.
I wrote a whole bunch of books in that in and I also wrote a book called The Opening, and but I also wrote a whole bunch of books also about spiritual and shamanic subjects in German, and I think like 10 or 11 or 12 or something, card decks,
Wow,
books,
you speak
seed
fluent
beads.
German.
Yeah, I'm fluent German, fluent English, and yeah, I just haven't had time to do more in English, but I guess maybe that's starting to come now as well. Yeah.
That's really cool. I love that. And so, are you an energy healer as well? Then.
Yeah, I do shamanic trainings. I have a training right now that I'm doing shamanic training. I do healings. I've done tons of sweat lodges, vision quests. Yeah, a lot of that. Yeah.
I've been a recipient of energy healings lately. I told this my audience knows this because I had a problem with my liver, and I was getting like some energy healings, and they were working. Like there's I would say I have a handful of people in the community that are like real energy healers. Like they're like legit. They can be 1,000 miles away, and you can feel them touching you. You'll feel like
Yeah.
something warm. You'll feel something warm on your liver, and it's like so. It's not
Yeah, they
even
do
just the
that.
it's like it's amazing. It's like how are they doing that? It's like so I've always
I
wondered
teach
like
that.
you teach
It's not,
that?
yeah, I teach that kind of stuff. It's not that hard once you know the techniques. Should we do a card reading for you, Rob? Because you mentioned you have some issues with your liver?
Well, it hasn't been as bad like the last couple of days, the last week. But I mean, like it seems like it's been going away, But I
Oh,
mean, we
good.
could do one. We could do one. Whatever. If you want to read me, that's fine. You want me to pull one for myself?
Yeah, for whatever you want to know for yourself. I mean, it can be something else too. Do you have anything? Or maybe that's too
I
personal.
would want to know about my business, which is my podcast, and my love life, which is you know,
You want to do it about your business
yeah,
or your love
yeah,
life? I didn't quite.
yeah.
Those are two
Um,
different things, or is it the same thing?
it's two different things. My business is my podcast, and my love life is like, you know,
Which one would you like to do? We can do both.
whatever you get for me. I pulled this card. I got this card for myself. I got the Arcturians, and that's a dope card. I love that. That's a really
That's
cool
a
card. I love the artwork on
very
that.
dope card. Yeah. Yeah. The Arcturian. So I would say this connects with your business, and you definitely are a leader. Um, you, I think you come across as humble, which is really nice and relaxing. Like you say, you want to make people feel at ease. But be aware, I think that you have a I mean, you wouldn't be able to hold the space for so many interviews and everything that you're doing if you wouldn't have some Arcturian energy, which are leaders, which are people who have the connection to the Arcturians, who follow their own truth, who don't like being told what to do. And this is what I'm getting through is that this is a confirmation for you to keep going on that path and trust your intuition. And if you are uncertain, connect with your Arcturian. Either it's your starseed heritage, it's part of where you've been, or you have guides from there. So just connect with that. Do you want to do that now, just so we can show the readers how to do that? Maybe just close
Yeah, that
your
would be
eyes.
cool. That would be cool.
Yeah. So why don't you just, if you feel comfortable with it, just close your eyes, take a few deep breaths in and out, and you have a ceiling above you. Just let that ceiling fade away and open your awareness into the sky, and above that into the universe. And to the Arcturian constellation intuitively, and ask for a connection to an Arcturian star guide. Are you getting a connection? What are you
Um,
sensing?
I'm not yet, but I'm trying.
What do you, no, 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 don't stress yourself. What do you feel?
Um, I'm just seeing like blank in my mind. Like I'm not seeing like no beings are coming or anything like that, or like.
People have very different ways of perceiving. Some people see visually. Some people, they have more a sense of something that's there, but they can't literally see it, but still they know that it's there.
Also, Mike, for me, like I've had experiences before where I've tried to get messages and then I've gotten like a download later. Like sometimes, like for me, it doesn't come right away. You know what I mean?
All
Because
right.
I think I have like what's called like I'm trying to tap in while that's why I have my eyes closed. I'm trying to tap in while I'm talking to you. I have what's like called like I have like psychic stage fright, like where like if I try to read somebody, I get blocked. If I try to do something like this,
Yeah.
I get blocked. Like I was able
You
to do.
there.
I've done 12 hypnosis sessions, and some of them I've done live, but like I didn't even feel comfortable with those. Like you know what I mean? I have like for some reason I have I have some kind of like I don't know what it is. It seems
Well,
like
if
a
you could, that's fine. I mean, if you there's a lot of people like that, and it seems to be more common with men than women that they get the information later. So I would just let it settle. And you're kind of on the spot now too. You have to do the interview. You're doing all the technical stuff. So I'm not
yeah
surprised, to tell you the truth. It's
yeah
kind of a
that's
lot.
what it is.
Not a very relaxing situation to do something like this. But thank you.
Yeah, that was amazing. But I see what I'm going to do that. So like, so all you do is you just like you close your eyes, and then you open your mind, and then you open up your ceiling or your place, and you travel you project yourself out into the stars. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
that's awesome. I love
Not
that.
very
I love that.
difficult.
I'm going to do it when I'm like alone and I have time to do it because then I think I'll be able to really tap in. You know what I mean? And I'm going to try to call some
Yeah.
ships in tonight, and I'm going to see if I can call some ships in. I think because that's what I really want to do. I want to try to call some UFOs in and then I want to try to film them. But they probably wouldn't let me film them because I had a sighting the other night. It was complete. It totally blocked my phone. It was like 300 feet up in the air. It was like this plasma shape shifting UFO type thing, and it totally blocked my phone. It was like it like yeah, it was really strange. So but I mean, it was my first sighting. So I don't know. Well, it was second because
What?
I saw one of the drones too that people have been
Wow.
talking about.
By the way,
Did you?
those drones that you mentioned, they've also been showing up in Germany around a U.S. military base there. Same thing going on there. Tons of drones. They don't know where they're from.
But only around U.S. military bases?
In that particular, from what I know, yeah. From what somebody wrote me, yeah.
Huh? I find that very interesting.
And they still
I
don't, but
find
they
that
still don't,
very
they
interesting.
still, but they still don't know what it is. They haven't figured it out. Yeah.
I think it's something that's been here for thousands of years. Like, I wonder if the U.S. was planning a preemptive attack on Russia, and that's why they're showing up. They're trying to see if we're going to attack Russia, and they're going to U.S. military. They're probably UFOs because. So okay, I'm just going to make a blind assumption here, but based off of stuff that somebody told me. So somebody told me that these things have been around forever. That they're always a guest I had on my show, Dr. Simeon Hine, the other night. He said these things have been around forever. He said they may look like drones. He said, but they're always a few years ahead of our technology. They look weird. He said in the 1800s they were airships. And when he started saying this, I started thinking, wow, that makes sense. But and then I started just thinking, now I was like, well, I wonder if they're scoping out U.S. military bases around the world to see if we were going to have a preemptive nuclear strike on Russia. I have to wonder that because the last time that this happened, where UFOs were around nuclear bases, they actually dismantled the nuclear. UFOs have dismantled nukes before, and they've actually not only dismantled them, but then they've turned them on too to like kind of warn. So and then there's like been weird videos of orbs destroying drones. Like I don't know how real that is, but I mean, so it's
Oh, I,
really
I,
interesting what's going on right
I
now.
can imagine that there's a lot going on in those areas. Yeah, that the general public is not even aware of. That probably uh, the powers to be are much more aware of, and don't particularly like because they can't control it. So yeah.
It's fascinating though, isn't it? It's kind of scary, but at the same time, it's really fascinating.
I mean, the Old Testament talks about objects appearing in the sky. There's drawings in old shamanic cultures of beings that look like they're wearing really, really old drawings in caves showing really like tens of thousands of years, showing some kind of huge being wearing something looking like an astronaut suit. I mean, I'm sure you've come across those images. They're pretty well known. So yeah, these technological incidents that we can't explain are there as well. No question. And that actually, when you say that somebody who has more knowledge about this says that they help dismantle atomic attacks, that's actually a very positive message that we are also getting some help from outside.
Yeah. They wanted to, they've been wanting. I mean, like all the abduction lore, like all the alien abduction like cases, like they go throughout history. They always tell the humans to clean up the planet, that they're destroying the planet and would stop fighting and warring against each other. It's always the same messages. It's always like clean up the planet. You're destroying the planet. Stop war, and we're acting too barbaric. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
been like the message to abductees like throughout like the longest amount of time. And I don't even like to say abductee, but I mean some people do identify as abductees, some people identify as contactees.
yeah.
It's the
Different experiences, of course. Just depending on who it is and what the experience is. But yeah, I mean, when you imagine star beings from different dimensions, higher development, they watch what we're doing down here, very, very confusing for them because no, they don't know they no longer have this type of extreme love, hate, war, peace concept that we have here. And I think that's also why so many star seeds who incarnate on Earth at this time, they wonder like, where have we landed here? What is this planet Earth? Very hard for many to understand. I remember when I was a kid and a teenager growing up, I also many times I was thinking, man, what the hell is going on this planet? This is weird. Very
Isn't it like a
strange.
big insane asylum? I said that I've been saying that lately.
Yes.
I've coined it that. It's like a giant insane. Because if you picture like an insane asylum, a place where insane people have congregated because
Yes.
But then if you look at that from a macro perspective, that's what a lot of the world is.
Yes.
It's like a bunch of insane people locked inside Earth. And some people even
Yes.
say there's frequency fences here that keep us in Earth, and like And Robert Monroe, he wrote about journeys out of the body. He said that, like, he had trouble when he was astral traveling getting past the Van Allen belt, which makes me think that might be something like the frequency fences that were like in here, like a prison planet or something. I don't like to say prison planet, but I mean, like, some kind of, weird, I don't know. I don't know. I definitely felt the same way as you, though. I felt like, what's going on here? Like, I felt that like more recently, like that, because like when I was young, it was like everything was so much more innocent. Like, like fast food was good when I was young because I didn't know anything about it. And then I think, like, as I got older, fast food got way worse, and then it became like, oh my god, you can't eat this. You know what I mean? Like, but when you were young, it was like it was great to go get like a burger and fries. You didn't think anything of it. But now it's like toxic. So it's like, what happened to the world? It's little things like that. And it's like, and it's like then you find out that the water's poison, the food's poison, the air's not clean because of chemtrails, and all kinds of stuff. When you go down every rabbit hole, and it's like, what is going on with this place? When did things get so corrupt?
Yeah, a lot is going on. And my kids, I have twins, they're 15 now, and I remember when they were kindergarten age, we were driving in Hawaii, and they looked out the window and they like at some point they just said, "Oh, this is how things work and how things are on planet Earth." One of them said that, and and uh, and I that came out of nowhere. I wasn't like talking to them about stars or stuff like that. It was just like all of a sudden this little wise soul said, "Oh, I've landed on planet Earth. This is how things work here." And my personal sense is also I've been on Earth before several times, numerous times, but before I came now, before that, I feel like I was somewhere else for a really, really long time. So I definitely had not such an easy time when I was a teenager making sense of it all and as a young adult. And I found a lot of help and support in shamanic wisdom and knowledge, putting it together and navigating the way of navigating the craziness you were talking about that's on this planet. And according to the old star wisdom, indigenous star wisdom of the Hopis, of the Mayas, we are at the beginning of a very massive 2,000-year cycle moving through the Pleiadian photon belt, and it's going to get more intense. This is just the beginning.
See, I used to follow this researcher. He died. His name was Gerald Clark. He talked about that too. He said that we were going through the photon belt, and like we were going through the
Yeah,
galactic center of the Milky Way. And
exactly.
he thought that was going to send massive amounts of energy, from there to like down here on Earth. And he thought that it would make humans evolve. That was his
It
theory, that it
is.
would.
It is making them evolve. It's it's just hard to see because the unpleasantness is also becoming so much more obvious. Do you want me to explain it briefly? I just don't want to overtalk, so you just
No,
have
that'd
to.
be awesome. Yeah, I'd love to hear that. That sounds awesome. Yeah, I'd love to.
So I even have a little picture here printed out so you can have a look at it. So do you see that? Looks like a donut or a torus?
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's the Pleiadian photon belt. The Pleiades, it's a cluster of like around 800 stars or more, and that we
yeah,
can see from Earth with very high energy. And every planet has energy surrounding it. Even we as humans have a torus energy surrounding us. And we move through this Pleiadian photon belt every 11,000 years. And then we move through it for 2,000 years. And during these 2,000 years, the energy is higher because of these photons, which move at the speed of light. So you can imagine, and the last time we moved through this around 11,000 years ago, apparently Atlantis sunk and the ice age ended, or just always very strong physical events also take place at those times. And we're just at the beginning now, according to this old shamanic star wisdom. And it's like a bright flashlight or a bright torch or many bright torches lighting everything up on Earth and showing, like if you're in a room and you kind of a dark room, and then all of a sudden you turn on the light and then you see, oh my God, I have to sweep the floor and there's a bunch of dirt under my bed and who knows what that you didn't see when it was dark. And we are now in this light, and we see as a human species on our planet, we see the chemtrails, we see the poison in our food, we see everything that was not as visible before. And it's getting more. We see it more and more. And like you said, every rabbit hole that needs to be seen will be, light is shining right into it. And according to this old wisdom, this is a very good and necessary evolutionary process that we're going through cyclically every 11,000 years. And what will sustain this bright light will remain, and what will not be able to stand up to this bright light is going to crumble. So there's going to be in the next, and we know it's coming, and it's not going to happen all in 100 years. It's going to happen in the next 2,000 years. Political structures are going to change, social structures, and we're just going to move to the next level. And this is all a very necessary part of transformation. And this is just the beginning of the next 2,000 years. And the best thing we can do is support this process and not be fearful of it, but understand that it's actually pretty interesting, exciting ride with a lot of potential. But yeah, it's gonna rumble. It's definitely gonna rumble.
Do you think we're gonna incarnate here again?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Do you? I think it's individual from. Oh, your light just went out.
Yeah, I got it. I got a little remote here. Did it go? Yeah, I went back on. But what I was going to say is, I kind of want to move on. But if I'm needed, I guess I'll come back. I mean, I don't want to. I don't know. I'm undecided. There's a whole theory going around about the soul trap as well. Did you ever hear about that?
About what?
The soul trap theory. Did you ever hear about that?
No, I've never heard of that. I'd love to hear about it though.
So there's a theory going around. A lot of people have YouTube channels about it, and they talk about it extensively. That when you go to the light, and when you pass away and you go to the light, that the light's a trick. And then when as soon as you go into that light, you wake up in a birth canal, and you're tricked to come back to Earth because these archonic, they use a word from the Gnostic term, archonic beings. They loosh feed off us, supposedly, or maybe reptilians like loosh feed off us. And what loosh is energies, and basically we're used like batteries here. And they say if you try not to come back, they'll try to convince you. They'll say, oh, well, you remember when you were 24 and you got into that bad fight with your mother? Don't you want to fix that? Don't you want to try again and try to make it better? Or maybe your career didn't go right. They'll say, well, your career didn't really go right. Maybe you should come back to Earth and try again. And they said that they'll show up as your grandmother. It's very deceiving, this soul trap theory. I mean, I'm not saying the theories that if this is real, these beings are very deceiving, And they'll say that they'll show up as your aunt, your grandmother, and they'll try to say, So I don't know. It's very like. It's something.
Yeah. I don't know the concept, the word of soul trap, but I can with shamanic practices, this definitely resonates. We just have a different name for it, but these are like if there are possessions, if we are possessed in our energy field by beings, energies pulling off our energy, who are feeding off that, and there are those beings on Earth, but also universally, then yes, then these kind of cycles will continue until we look through and see behind the possession and release and heal ourselves from that. So you can a lot of times they're implants. They're implants that are in our body and also in our energy system, and there are techniques where I also write about the implants in my card deck. There are techniques how you can extract these implants and also recognize these kind of soul traps, to use that term. Yes. So yeah, this concept is I can totally relate to that, and it's also something that is worked with in shamanic healing. It just has a different name.
That's interesting. It's so interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's about awakening, and it's about seeing what's really out there. There's a lot of illusions and traps, definitely.
yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And
But this
it's
has
and
been
it's
on.
and it,
Sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, I was going to say this was awesome. I had so much fun. But I mean, is there anything else you want to cover? We can talk a little bit more. It's up to you.
Well, just to add on to that, it's it's really I think it's really we have a fascination for the universe and for the stars, and because we have a connection, an old connection, and we look out there. But it again, I think it's really about each of us individually and coming to our own. I, maybe you might have heard this term as zero space. It's a space where you are really in a space of no mind, where you're in a pure connection with the universal energy, and where you are not trapped or caught or in your brain spirals of the illusions. And it's about going back into the zero, into the center space of pure beingness. And when we get there, anyhow, we're almost enlightened then anyhow, and then you really don't have to come back to this planet unless you are a bodhisattva and you do it out of free will to support. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Well, this was awesome. I love this interview. Thank you so much. And do you want to tell
Thank
people, I
you.
have it in the description, but how they can get the card deck and like any of your books? And thank you. This was awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I also really enjoyed it, and also thank you to the people who asked for the readings. Really enjoyed those. Really nice. And well, it's this book you can get it, at Inner Traditions, Barnes and Noble, every bookshop you can order it. I think you put the links on the
Yeah.
YouTube page, right? Yeah, and my homepage is lisarainbow.com, and I also have a Facebook page, Instagram. If anybody wants to follow me, more than more than welcome. And I just wish everybody joy, peace, and happiness, and finding their authentic self and finding their path that makes them happy.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much. I'd love to have you back on again. This was awesome.
Gladly, Rob, anytime.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And that's it for me for tonight for shows. I'm off tomorrow, guys, by the way. So no shows for me tomorrow. I'll probably find something to post to, like, to give you guys, or I'll post something to the audio feed. Like, like I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'll have something for you guys. Like, I think I have a show that I haven't posted yet on YouTube. I have a lot of shows that I haven't posted yet on YouTube. So I'll do something for you guys, like, for sure. But like, I won't, but there's no live shows for me tomorrow. Like, no, that's a rarity. Like, I'm off a couple days towards the end of the year here, and I have to try to schedule some shows for January because I have nothing scheduled for January. So if anybody has any ideas for shows for January, please send me them, because I'm looking for new interesting guests like Lisa, tonight, and yeah, yeah, and thank you, everybody. And all right, have a good night, everybody, and take care, and thank you, Lisa.